At this point, it is no secret that Billy Napier and co. set the recruiting world on absolute fire after landing multiple recruits within 72 hours. More than likely an historic run. It had a lot of heads turning. You got the FSUs of the world, the Miamis, Penn State has been involved now. Texas is commenting on what is going on there in Gainesville, Florida. There must be cheating. There must be paying all these guys. They're going to be the next Texas A&M. They're going to be the next Miami. To those guys, I love it. I appreciate it. I expect you to be that way. As a Georgia guys, these guys are coming out of the woodworks. And out of all the fan bases, you were coming off back-to-back national championships. You should be on your parade. You should be in Cancun all the way up until August. You should be involved with any of this. Uncle Lou, especially, somebody who has mentioned multiple times, I don't follow recruiting. Well, that is until it's all over your Twitter timeline and Billy starts to set the world on fire. Then you have to come and go, whoa, 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 whoa. It's not that big of a deal. Here's what he had to say.
In the case of the Florida Gators, it's a June recruiting title. I don't know, would they get 4 or 5 commits or something over the last week? Whoopity-doo. I mean, it does look like Florida will have a good recruiting class for this coming cycle in 2024. But what does that actually mean?
Well, Uncle Lou, I can tell you what it means, okay? It means the start of something special. And he goes on to say, well, it's not going to affect 2023. And you're 100% right. So why get excited about it? Well, if you've been watching Florida football as long as I have and you've been involved with it, you'll understand that we've been behind the 8 ball for quite some time. So it's a nice breath of fresh air to see somebody is invested as Billy Napier has been in the recruiting cycle. Now, something that I have always made the comparison to, that I have been laughed at, criticized for, etc., is the comparison of Billy Napier to Nick Saban. Now, what gets twisted is they think that I'm saying he's the next coming of Nick Saban. Not at all. My point is that he's cut from that same cloth, as Kirby is. So these guys have taken things they learned from Nick and have evolved it into their own way of coaching. Same thing he did with recruiting with the G-Wagons and the Maybach. That personal touch he grabbed from Nick Saban. Nick Saban's first year wasn't the greatest at Alabama. A lot of people say he went 7-6, wasn't that great. Kirby's first year at Georgia wasn't that great. They lost to Vandy too. Billy's first year wasn't that great. Lost to Vandy. Now, both those coaches, Nick and Kirby, had phenomenal second years. Do I think Billy's going to have a 11-2 or whatever it may be a second year at Florida? No. The schedule's an absolute gauntlet. I think they're going to go through some shit this second year. Totally agree. However, the strides that he is making, first being off the field in recruiting, is a part of the Nick Saban / Kirby playbook. He's going down the same process. It's going to take time. Georgia forgets. They feel like they just woke up one day and were all of a sudden national championships. This took Kirby some time to get where he is today. And I always give credit to Georgia and Kirby on what they've been able to build. But look, this too shall pass. There's somebody else in the works that is coming along. I want to also reference another Dog Nation channel, which they talked about this as well, where they played a clip from the 2017 recruiting cycle, where somebody mentions what is to come with the 2017 recruiting cycle, which ended up being, I think, a #1 class after being abysmal for the first half of the recruiting cycle in June, which is kind of how Florida was just a week ago. We were kind of scratching our heads going, what's happening? And then boom, it happened. So this is also going to help answer Lou's question with, well, what does this mean with his own guys getting hyped about recruiting in June?
It lives on all these years later. Here is a reminder of that.
I talk to a lot of recruits, and a lot of recruits kind of tell me that the Georgia coaches kind of laugh at all the headlines about, woe is Georgia, they can't put together back-to-back strong classes, yada, yada, yada. Those coaches, according to the recruits I talk to, feel very bullish about what they're going to build in 2018. But all those gifts haven't been unwrapped under the tree yet. So that's something for the fan base to pay close attention to over the next 4 or 5 months.
It's kind of like going back in time to hear like the Bobby Thompson shot heard around the world. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants, like that's only from the summer of 2017. I don't know why that audio has eroded so much, but nonetheless, that's Jeff Sintel way back then when the Georgia recruiting class was sort of ranked somewhere around.
So what I love about this clip is he plays that old clip, kind of reminiscing that, hey, look, this is where it all began, this 2017 summer, where he landed this massive recruiting class. That was the start of something special for Kirby Smart. At the time, they may have not recognized that, but now looking back, they go, man, that's when it happened. And again, that year, they ended up going 13-2, I believe. That recruiting class didn't impact that, but at least let you know they were headed in the right direction. So if you're going back and you're looking, well, hey, we did this in 2017. We had a massive recruiting year. It was exciting, great stuff. Then why are you criticizing what Billy Napier and them are doing? And in the Dog Nation, in that video, he goes, you guys should have been doing this. And we should have been, but we weren't. You know that. We know that. Hence why Dan Mullen is no longer here. So don't say, hey, you should have been doing this, and then criticize Florida for going out and hiring somebody who is known for being great at recruiting and is now doing exactly what he was hired for, right? And then question it. The reason why you're questioning it, the reason why it's raising the eyebrows of these Georgia guys is I think, and I'll probably get a lot of laughs out of this, there's some nerves. You're starting to see the tables turn at Florida. We're not into this kind of just back and forth, rotating head coach. They're starting to build momentum. They're starting to build a culture. Something that Saban has done, something that Kirby has done a phenomenal job of. Remind you guys, this kid is cut, and that kid, by being Billy Napier, is cut from that Saban cloth. And the last part of this, and I'll let you guys go, is, again, the question marks on Billy Napier and not being able to be successful, and where are they going to go? The question mark at quarterback for this year in Graham Mertz. Listen, Georgia, Kirby Smart took over Georgia in 2016. They won their first championship in 2022. Took that man 6 years. Now, he had some more successful seasons leading up to that. They obviously lost a few games to Bama. They were close, right? So it wasn't like it took him a long time to turn around. I understand that, but it took them 6 years. It took him 6 years to get it done. It took some time. It took multiple number 1, number 2, number 3 classes. Okay, mind you, Florida hasn't finished in the top 5 in the SEC in the last probably 6 to 7 years. Okay, they may finish number 9, they may be 8th in the overall class, but they've had Texas A&M, LSU, Georgia, Bama. They have been behind the 8 ball. We can all agree with that. For the first time, probably in a decade, it feels like, Florida is now leading the way, right behind Georgia. That's going to happen. You're not going to get a number 1 class right away. Georgia is way ahead of the ball game, as Florida is already dipping into that 2025, 2026 class to hopefully to see a healthy 2025 recruiting class. Again, we keep getting compared to Texas A&M. That splash in the park. Jimbo had been there for years, and then all of a sudden, the first year of NIL, they have a massive class. Same thing with Mario Cristobal. He comes in for his first year with no track record whatsoever, lands a massive class. And the question mark here is, Florida didn't show too much of great things on the field. I think what he did show, what Billy did show, is I'm going to invest into you. I put a guy into the league in Osiris Torrance. You see what my guys from Louisiana did in Montreal Johnson, Trevor Etienne, the guys that I went out and picked, the success they had at a young age. That's what recruits saw. That's something we talked about the entire year, is the young guys getting reps and having success early, and the development. The guys that were brought in under Billy, the guys that were bought in to Billy had success. The ones that weren't are no longer there, and it shows. So this will be something that we continue to monitor and keep an eye on. The battle between Florida and Georgia will never die. I love it that we're getting some attention, that these guys are getting riled up and taking the jabs. Let's know we're doing something right. Wise man once said that if you got haters, let you know that you're doing the right thing. So Billy, keep doing you. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.